It's good to be back with you. It's me, Jesse T, from the Home Selling Group, and we're pleased to be here. A little bit of a late day. It's been a long day, but we had the opportunity to save several transactions that kind of blew up, and we closed the transaction, so it's all good. One of those long, positive days. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about as a seller and as a buyer is sometimes when you have a transaction and you've got a deal going and you're getting into escrow, there are things that happen that you just can't foretell looking into your crystal ball. And there are things that just come out of the blue and out of left field for sellers and buyers that just have the ability to destroy the transaction and just blow it to smithereens. So one of the things I always try to tell people and impart to them that when you're selling a house, it's going to be one of the most stressful times you've ever had. We will mitigate and make sure that nothing is too overbearing and absorb a lot of those stressful situations and providing a smooth sail, sort of like, glass on a smooth lake. All right. But sometimes there are waves that come up that are pretty difficult for sellers to kind of get over. And then I tell buyers more or less the same thing when they get into escrow. I say to them, look we've got you completely cash approved for a loan, but once we open up this escrow and we get in through the process of it, it's going to be a stressful time for you. There are things that are going to come up that we have absolutely no control over in terms of choices and decisions and things that are needed in order to process and finish the loan. And some of it is going to be really very, very illogical, if I can use that word. Saying hi to Tracy Ellman. Hey, Tracy, what's happening? For buyers, a lot of it is not going to make any common sense at all, why the redundancy factor is there, nor will it make any logic or common sense as to why the lender who's actually giving you the money wants things done a certain way. Well, I simply say that it's going to be stressful. My job is to try to mitigate those stressful peaks and try to level the playing field out for you so that your escrow as a buyer is smooth and is least amount of stress and anxiety that we possibly can put into the transaction. But it is one of those things where there is an energy that takes over each escrow, which is very different than another escrow or maybe a previous escrow that you had in the past. For sellers, I say the same thing as well. I tell them, you may have bought a house in the past. You may have sold a house in the past. You may be very experienced at this, but this is a brand new situation going on. It's sort of like, we all have 5 fingers, but each one of our fingerprints are different. And that's sort of what a transaction is like for a seller. You may have done them before, and you may have done 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And, you have an idea, but each transaction really is different. And you don't really know everything or can't know everything as a professional in the transaction as to exactly what will happen. I always try to quiz both the seller and the buyer about the worst case scenarios that could potentially happen and sort of some solutions on how we can solve those things so that they understand that we at the Home Selling Group and me, Jesse T, have the ideas ahead of the game. And I think consultation and discussion and communication is very important. You just can't leave your seller and your buyer alone. You have to really become a family member in their situation. You really have to understand their needs and wants and desires. And if you did your job right in the beginning, when you first met them, for buyers, you got a complete criteria of what they're looking for in their life and the desires and what they want, and etc. And for sellers, a complete idea of where they want to be, what they want to do, what they're interested in. I think if you do your interview up front and you're really spectacular at it, you can really help the situation when it kind of goes awry, goes out in the left field sometimes, because they know that you're going to solve the problem. And that, after all, is what we get paid for, our experience to solve the problems, to solve the issues, find solutions that are acceptable to all the parties, and be able to communicate that properly to all the parties involved in your transaction. I counted once all the people that are involved in a transaction between a buyer and a seller. There are about 100 different people that actually touch that file in some way and have a way of either helping the transaction or destroying it. So as a real estate professional, a broker, like I am, you have to stay on top of the game. That's really the key. And, define your communication in clear, concise ways. And I think that sellers appreciate that, and so do buyers. Don't hold back the good points. Don't hold back the bad points. Be straightforward and concise, but always have a solution to the problem, because where there is a will, there is always a way. And there's always a solution to every problem in the real estate business, whether you're selling like you may be doing now or want to, or whether you're buying like you may be doing now or want to. So that's one of the things that we call specialized knowledge. Real estate brokers generally have to be schooled in a lot of different avenues of the social agenda. Not only do we have to be able to have some basic legal understandings of contracts, and we have to have an understanding of loans and money. We have to have psychological, sociological, philosophical understandings. We have to be able to communicate properly with our clients and our friends and our customers. We have to be able to sometimes do some hard labor work. We have to be excellent at trying to figure out how to keep the parties together over the long run, when in many cases they may just despise each other. Okay? So it's really important to understand that a broker gets paid for more than just opening a door. Really, we do. And somebody who's been in business as long as I have, for 40 years, you are consistently looking for solutions. Now, I just recently had over $105,000 in escrows sitting in escrow right now, worth $105,000 in commissions to me. Excuse me. To me, just alone, sitting in escrow. And every single one of those sales, both were buyers and sellers and refis, every single one of them were blowing up. And they all blew up about the same time. Multiple blow-ups. Like the bombs were bursting all around me. So I spent the last 3 weeks solving problems, keeping these deals together, finding solutions, ranting and raving and pounding and pointing and emailing and texting and just doing every skill that I know, as well as not only that, utilizing every experience I know in order to find the solution. There's not much I haven't been through in this business. I haven't been through everything, because when the minute you say you've been through everything, bam, something hits you that you've never been through before. So my goal not only was to save their sale and to save their purchase, but also to save my commission. Because I have to make money for my business and my company, and I have to eat too. I'm just like you. I can't work for anything and can't work for free. So I was losing over $105,000 in commissions 3 weeks ago, and they were escalating. But slowly but surely, we found solutions for every single one of them. And one of them just closed today. Another one closed last week, a smaller one, all right? And we had a huge one that completely fell out of escrow, but we've replaced it with some very good buyers. So we're going to be opening up escrow on that one. And then we had another huge one where it was completely falling apart, and we needed to get yet a third extension from the seller. And I basically was able to put that transaction together and also insert another buyer, a borrower, family member into that transaction at the same time. See, this is why we do our own loans and we do our own real estate. I don't solicit loans. You'll never see me advertising for loans. I only do loans for buyers, my buyers, our buyers, and I only do loans for my sellers, our sellers. That's all I do. I do not solicit outside business because, quite frankly, I don't want the anxiety and the stress that brings. And really importantly, though, I don't really know the buyer or the seller that well, okay? Whereas when I'm working closely with my client, I know them very well. I know what they're looking for. I understand how to communicate to them, okay? And so it makes sense to be able to have a one-stop shop for them and myself. So we were able to save this one transaction because it was a one-stop shop. I didn't have to go out to anybody else to try to get answers, and answers that may not have been completely truthful or completely right or completely on time. So in that respect, that's why I started doing loans over 30 years ago. Not so much to make a lot of money, because quite frankly, you don't make a lot of money in doing loans unless you're doing 20 or 30 a month. Then you're doing well, but you really generally don't. So in that respect, I started doing them so that we could have some control over the action of the transaction. Okay, does that make sense? So it's really important that you pick a team that you're going to work with that has that and the things I talked about, understandings in terms of your progress. Now, of course, the Home Selling Group has been around a long time in different fabrications and formations. I once had 3 offices, and they were called the Home Selling Pros, or the Home Loan Pros, and the Home Selling Team, and the Home Loan Pros. We had 3 offices, up to 35 to 75 agents coming through at any one time. I had a business called Western States Realty. I had another business called Mr. Sold Does It Again Real Estate. I had another business in another name. I worked for Red Carpet Realty. I worked for Remax Realty. I worked for Century 21 Realty. I worked for Fred Sands Realty. I worked for First Team Realty. These are all moderately large companies here in Los Angeles and Southern California. So I in these years, I've realized that in order to successfully close and provide the best service to your client, you have to do both. And so here at the Home Selling Group, that's what we do. I invite you to check us out on our website. Our IT guy is working on our website right now. That is www.thehomesoldgroup.com. We're updating it right now and putting a lot of robotic AI kind of cool stuff in it. And I do have a website that's active called freefirsttimehomebuyerinfo.com. And we just got finished with that one, though we're still adding little things to it as well. I've got another website you can go to called winwinwingroup.com. Okay, www.winwinwingroup.com. You can check us out there too as well. or you can give us a call at 1-800-684-8699 and check us out there, and we'll get back to you. All right. Now remember, like and share us. It's important. Like and share, and put some comments in below when you watch this video. Notify us and hit the notification little button, and also become a member. It's free. Become a subscriber on our YouTube site so you get a lot of inside cool stuff. All right. I just wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about that, and kind of give you the idea on how we move here at the Home Sold Group. Well, this is me, Jesse T. Have a great night. And remember, if it don't start right, it don't end right. See ya.